Hi guys, my name is Trinh and today I'm here to do my August wrap up. Basically in August I watched I think 16 movies. A lot of them are like Marvel movies because right now I am doing like a Marvel marathon where I'm watching all of the movies in release order. So that's been really fun. Honestly, it's been like very fun. So I cannot wait to talk about the movies in phase 1 and phase 2 because I have watched all of those movies in August. Of course, I watched some other movies as well, but in August I mostly watch Marvel movies. And then also, of course, at the end I will show you my August playlist. I have listened to some amazing songs in August and I cannot wait to talk about them. So real quick, I do want to give credit to Chloe because I believe last year in 2020 she did like monthly wrap-up videos where she talks about like the movies and TV shows that she watched. I took a lot of inspiration from her videos and I really want to do my own twist to it. So yeah, let's get started. As for like the journaling aspect, it's basically the exact same thing that I'm doing last month. I was gonna say last year, but no, it's just last month. I basically used these cardstock papers that I got from Michael's for the month of August since I did like a Percy Jackson theme. The two main colors that I use are orange and purple, so that's what I'm doing right now. And yeah, it's very self-explanatory. So the very first movie that I watched in August is Iron Man. I'm pretty sure I'm correct. This is the very first movie in like the Marvel universe. I have always known about Iron Man, but the thing is I've never watched any of his movies. That's not good at all, so I'm really glad that I finally watched the very first one. I will say the first half of the movie made me so uncomfortable. I don't feel like talking about it in this video just because I don't want to get, in depth with it, but let me just tell you that the first half made me really uncomfortable. But I will say I'm glad that halfway through the movie we see what's his name? Oh my goodness, Tony Stark having this revelation about his weapons and what he's doing with his life, and it's nice to see him basically building like the Iron Man suit. So you get to see how smart he is in this movie, and honestly I really like him. So those are my thoughts for the first movie. So I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars. The next one is The Incredible Hulk. I will say this is the one movie where it just doesn't feel like a Marvel movie at all. As I was watching it, I'm just like, this is boring. And then when I finished it, I'm just like, yeah, this is probably not my favorite movie ever. I really don't like the romance between Bruce Banner and I think her name is Betty, like his ex-girlfriend. It was so awkward. I was cringing the entire time. And then also when it comes to this movie, we have so many action scenes, but we see many scenes of Bruce Banner just running from like the government. I will say this is a great movie to introduce us to the Hulk and of course his power and how he is very dangerous. Like obviously he has no control when he's in that state. Like he just kills a lot of people and hurts a lot of people and is terrifying obviously. So I like the fact that we get to know about the Hulk a little bit, and then also the gamma radiation, that whole thing. That was interesting, but at the same time this is probably like my least favorite movie from the MCU. So I gave this 2 out of 5 stars. And again, it doesn't even feel like a movie from Marvel, but it is technically, so that's interesting. But yeah, I watched that. And then the next movie that I saw is Iron Man 2. Tell me why I don't remember what happened in this movie, but there are some scenes that I definitely remember, like the villain having the whip and how he's like trying to kill Tony like on the racetrack. That whole thing was kind of wild, but it was also kind of funny because that whole scene was such a mess. But yeah, I like this one a little bit. I don't know if it's my favorite of the entire Iron Man trilogy. I think the third one is probably my favorite, but the second one I like it, but again it's not my favorite. So yeah, I think that's about it. And also we get like a new actor for Rhodey, so that was interesting. So oh yeah, oh my goodness, we get to see Natasha Romanoff in this. Like this is her first cameo, is that the right word? Her introduction in the MCU. That was pretty awesome because I love Black Widow, so it's really nice to see her in this. And yeah, overall I gave this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. And now the first Thor movie. I definitely don't know a lot about Thor and Loki, and I'm very glad that I watched this because of course we get to learn about Loki and his backstory and his real parentage and all that fun stuff. So that was something that I was not aware of because basically prior to like watching these movies in August, I have always known that Loki is the adopted brother of Thor, but I never know like where he's from, so I'm glad that I have watched this movie. But I will say it's not my favorite movie ever. It was just off. I don't know, there's just something about it that I kind of don't love. The romance between Thor and Jane is my least favorite thing ever. It's just so awkward. I mean, there are some cute moments in the second movie, but in the very first one I just did not feel the chemistry between them, so I don't really care about them as a couple. So overall I gave this movie 2.5 out of 5 stars. And now Captain America, my boy Steve Rogers. So of course the very first movie in this trilogy, Captain America, and the first Captain America America, the first adventure. There we go. It's definitely nice to see this for the very first time, and I have to say I really enjoy it way more than I thought. I love Steve Rogers so much. I love the fact that he's a very brave individual, and I also really like Peggy Carter in this, so that's really nice because I don't know, I've always known her, but again, since I have never watched this movie, and this is like the only movie that she appears in for like the entirety of the movie, it's nice to see her, and I love her so much. She's just such a baddie. I really like her, so I think with this movie I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. And now the very first adventure movie, the first Avengers. Oh my god, this is such a classic, so this is definitely a rewatch for me. I'm pretty sure I watched this multiple times in the past. I'm pretty sure I watched this for the very first time when it first came out, so that was a momentous occasion, and now almost 10 years later I'm rewatching it and it's still so good. It's still pretty iconic. It's just so nice to see all of like the superheroes just fighting together, because of course Loki is a bad guy in this, and then we have the Chitauri, is that what they're called? I don't remember, but like the alien thing, like yeah, they're attacking New York, and it's nice to see all of our main characters just fighting the bad guys, and there are some really good action scenes, and there are some really, you know, good like funny scenes. So overall I really enjoyed this rewatch, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. So that's basically phase 1 of the Marvel universe. It's just a bunch of movies that just introduce like the main characters, you know, like we have like the boys basically, like Thor, Iron Man, and then Captain America. So it's nice to see those movies. So now let's take a quick break from Marvel and talk about Aladdin and the King of Thieves, because this is the movie that I've been meaning to watch since April. I will say, I think before going to this movie, I had a pretty high expectation, which is not a good thing, because I feel like I was a little bit disappointed when I was watching it, just because like the people in my life, they really hyped this movie up, and then of course I really thought that I would love it, but I didn't love it. It's not horrible, but I will say I didn't love it. So real quick, this movie is the third movie of like the Aladdin trilogy. I didn't even know that there was a third Aladdin movie until this year, like earlier this year. So I think out of like the 3 movies, the first one is my favorite. It's just such a classic. I have fond memory with the very first one. The second one was just not good whatsoever in my opinion. It was just eh. And then the third one, so the thing is, we get to see Aladdin having daddy issues with the third one, and the thing is, I already have that going on in my life. I don't need to see a movie where the main character is having daddy issues. So like that was the first thing, and like I said, I just had a pretty high expectation going to this movie. So I guess when my expectations were not met, I was pretty disappointed by the end, but at the same time, this is not a horrible movie. But anyway, I give this movie 3 out of 5 stars. If you want to watch it, then go right ahead, because you know, it's not horrible. But I will say the animation has been going downhill when it comes to this trilogy. Like it's really weird. So like the animation for the very first movie is so good, but then with the sequel, they're not as good. So like what's that about? But I guess that's like my thoughts for that movie. So now back to Marvel. Iron Man 3. Oh my goodness. I'm so glad that I watched this movie in August, just because in September I watched Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, I believe. And guess what? There were references in Iron Man 3 in that movie. And of course it makes sense, because basically the villain of Iron Man 3 is the Mandarin. I have lots of thoughts on the villain. The real villain, you know, like that white guy. Yeah, he's very evil obviously, but there's just something about him that I really don't like. So I guess when it comes to this movie, of course I like Tony Stark, and I really like Pepper Pot. Yeah, that's her name. Oh my god, Pepper. Yeah, I really like her as well. The very last battle scene, that was so good. Like it was so good, and I was just enjoying, you know, the movie. So I think overall I gave it I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. That's a pretty good rating, I will say. Yeah, I like everything except the villain. I just don't like the villain at all. I don't know, there's just something about him that I just don't like. And now Thor: The Dark World. I will say before going to this, I've been told that it's not the best movie ever. And the thing is, it's not. It's definitely not my favorite movie from the MCU. However, I think it's because I watched it with my boyfriend that I end up kind of liking it a little bit. So I'm glad that I didn't, you know, like have a horrible time watching this, because I really didn't. I mean, I enjoy it for what it is, but at the same time, I know for a fact that this is not really high on my ranking. Like the ranking in my head, it's a decent story. It's not my favorite. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. And now Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Let's talk about the best the best Marvel movie ever. Well, not ever, but it's definitely like really high on my ranking. I love this movie so much. This is definitely a rewatch. So the very first time that I watched this was back in 2018, because I was watching like a bunch of Marvel movies leading up to Infinity War, and the first time I watched this, I was just like so surprised because it was so good, and now that I have watched it again like 3 years later, it's still really good. This is definitely one of my favorite movies from the MCU. So first of all, let's talk about Nat and Steve. I love them so much. The chemistry is there. Oh my goodness, I love them. I adore them like so much. And then Sam Wilson, I love him as well, so it's really nice to see him working with like the main characters. And just overall, I really like this movie. It was just very intense. There were some good funny scenes, but overall I just like the fact that it was just intense. And then of course Captain America, the Winter Soldier, it was a big deal. So overall, I love this movie very much. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, and I'm really glad that I rewatched this in August. And now let's talk about Ali Wong a little bit. So I rewatched her 2 comedy specials on Netflix, so Baby Cobra and Heart Not Wife. The reason why I did that is because in August I watched her like other comedy special called Milk and Money. Basically, she did live performances near where I live, so I got my tickets, I went to see her, and of course before doing that I decided to rewatch the 2 comedy specials on Netflix. So let's quickly talk about Baby Cobra. Of course, I still really enjoy it. It's very funny. There are some moments where I find myself laughing, and then there are some jokes where I'm just like, this is awkward. I don't know, but overall I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. And now Heart Knock Wife. I think this is probably my favorite one just because I really enjoy her jokes about childbirth. I think that's just really funny. Like the way she tells it is very honest, obviously, like she does not sugarcoat anything, but I like the fact that she makes it very funny for you. So, you know, I enjoy that. I will say the last half, it's not my favorite. It was just kind of all over the place, and then like the very ending is not really good. Like she didn't really end it on a high note like she did with Baby Cobra. So that was interesting. So I think with this one I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars as well. I don't know why. My ratings does not make sense sometimes, so like that's just how it is. And now Guardians of the Galaxy, the very first movie. So this is a rewatch for me, and of course with this rewatch I actually really enjoy it like way more than I thought. I mean, like my ratings is still the same. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. However, this time around I just really appreciate it for what it is. It's just like a sci-fi movie because we get to see aliens and we see like people from different universe and galaxy and all that fun stuff. I don't know, it's interesting and it's kind of nice. I don't know, I like it. And it's also nice to see like our main group of characters just working together, because in the beginning of the movie they were like not friends at all. So I thought that was really nice. So yeah, overall I gave it, oh wait, I already told you, I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. And now Avengers Age of Ultron. With this movie I really thought I watched it already. It was so surprising because when I was watching it, by the ending I was just like, wait, I think I've never seen this before. Because the thing is, there are tons of Marvel movies that I have not watched, but then there are a lot that I have already watched. So with this one I really did not remember. So yeah, by the end I was just like, yeah, I don't think I've ever seen this before. With this movie I just couldn't believe what I was like watching, because basically Tony Stark messed up. Like Ultron was created by him and it became evil and it wanted to kill other people, and I was just like, what? So yeah, that's definitely the first sign of me like realizing that I've never watched this, because I feel like I would have definitely remembered that because it's such a big deal. But when I was watching it I was really shocked by everything. So I mean, like I know the ending, like I know someone died. So there was that, but other than that, this movie is not my favorite, unfortunately. I don't know why, but it just felt so long, like longer than it was. I don't know. But then also the romance between Bruce Banner and Natasha Romanoff, what is that about? Like that just does not make sense whatsoever. I was so confused, and I also really hated the romance because again, it just did not make sense. Like there was never a chemistry between them before this movie. So like imagine my horror when I was watching it, because suddenly they like each other, they have a thing for each other, and I'm just like, Miss Natasha Romanoff, what about Steve Rogers? He's right there. You guys had that thing going on in the Winter Soldier. Like what is going on? So yeah, this is not my favorite movie. So I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. And now the very last movie in phase 2 of the MCU. So I finally watched Ant-Man. So this is my first time watching it. I watched it with my boyfriend for like an hour, so that was really fun. And this movie is so funny. I was pleasantly surprised. Like I really enjoy it. And one of my favorite characters is Luis. Like he's the guy who does the storytelling in a very funny way, so I really like him. And then also there's just so many like funny moments. I genuinely enjoy this movie, and this is the one movie that I definitely see myself watching it for fun. Like it's just like a nice comfort movie that I can just put in the background as I'm doing something, you know. That's gonna be really nice. So hopefully I can watch this again in the future, because honestly I really enjoy it. I will say my star rating is kind of confusing because I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It's not bad, but based on my my description of this movie, you would have thought that I would have given it like a little bit higher of a rating, you know? But anyway, it just makes sense in my mind. It's not my favorite. That's weird to say because I literally just said this is like probably my new comfort movie, but I don't know, it's weird. Like when I think about my favorite movies of the MCU, I think of like The Winter Soldier and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. You know, Ant-Man is like definitely up there. Like I said, I really enjoy it. So yeah, that's my final rating, 4 out of 5 stars. Let's not question it, okay? Let's just accept that my star ratings are bad. And now the very last movie, Jennifer's Body, this movie that people love, but I just don't understand, I guess. So this is my very first time watching it in August, obviously. So like I watched it like towards like the end of the month. I will say it's very gay, which I like, you know, I appreciate that. However, I don't like the fact that there are not a lot of characters, but we have a few characters just saying slurs. Like I think Jennifer said the R word like 2 or 3 times in this movie, and I really hated it. And I don't know, the way like these people talk, like obviously they're trying to be cool and edgy, but I'm just like, wow, this feels so outdated because I feel like this movie came out in like the late 2000s, so obviously it makes sense, you know, but still I did not like it at all. Like this movie, I just didn't like it. Of course, there are some scenes where I'm just like, what is going on? Like this is so confusing, or like scenes where I'm just like, why didn't you do something about this? I don't know. Unfortunately, I did not like this movie whatsoever. I gave it 2 out of 5 stars. So yeah, those are all of the movies that I have watched in August. I watched like so many movies, it's kind of ridiculous. So hopefully in September I can finish phase 3 of the MCU, because I'm actually doing that right now. Like today I am watching Black Panther. So it's been a joy, it's been fun, and hopefully I can start a new TV show because I have not watched anything that's like TV related for a long time. So you know, hopefully I can start a new show or like watch a new season of a show that I've already watched. Like Sex Education season 3 is coming out in September, and I'm so excited for that. And now let's talk about music. So real quick, I do want to say that basically when it comes to making this page, I referenced the previous page that I did for July, so that was really helpful because I didn't really have to do a lot of measurements. I just used what I did last month, you know. Hopefully it makes sense when you see it on the screen. But now let's talk about the songs that I have been loving in August. So a lot of these songs are like old, but there are some new ones as well. The very first one is August by Taylor Swift. It just makes sense to listen to this song in August, okay? Like this song is such a beautiful song, and I have noticed that a lot of people also listen to this song, well obviously because it was the month of August. So I love the song so much. It's definitely one of my favorite songs in folklore. And then Doja Cat, oh my goodness, I have finally listened to her newest album, Planet Her. As of right now, my favorite track is Need to Know. I just love that song so much, okay? I love it. It's so fun, it's so catchy. It's just a great song to listen to in the car because I've been having so much fun listening to Planet Her in the car. So that's probably my favorite track of August. But I think in September I can see myself loving I Don't Do Drugs with Ariana Grande. That's basically my thoughts on Doja Cat's newest album, Planet Her. I love it so much, and I cannot wait to get the vinyl. In August, Lorde is back with her newest album, Solo Power. So I definitely listened to Stone at the Nail Salon a lot just because that song was like released as a single. It probably came out at the beginning of August, so I put it on my playlist and I really enjoy that song. And now let's talk about Billie Eilish and Happier Than Ever, which is her sophomore album. My favorite track from that album is Happier Than Ever, which is the title track. I'm not kidding when I say that that song is my favorite song of the year so far. But at the same time, I don't see any song beating that song. It's just such a good track. Like I love it so much. I really wish I can like go back and listen to it for the very first time because I was genuinely shocked when I listened to it. I love it. Like I really love it. So it's been like really fun listening to it and then singing it in the car because oh my goodness, it's such a fun song to sing in the car by yourself, you know, because like I cannot hit those high notes, but I try. Of course, more Taylor Swift, okay? I cannot help it. In August, I listened to Reputation because I got the vinyl recently, which is really cool. So I think oh my goodness, wow, I just noticed that on my playlist I wrote Getaway Kiss. That did not make sense whatsoever. I meant to say Getaway Car, so I have to fix that later. Like I'm just noticing it now. That's very embarrassing. But anyway, my favorite track from Reputation is probably Getaway Car. There are some other great songs too, like Dress. I love Dress so much. But in August, I was really like loving Getaway Car. So yeah, that's a song that I really recommend. Of course, I have also been listening to Rina Sawayama, I Love Exes. It's such a fun song, so I put it on my playlist, and yeah, I listen to it all the time. And now another song from Taylor Swift. So this one is called Last Kiss. This one makes more sense, okay? So this one is in her Speak Now album, I believe, and this song is just so beautiful. It's so long, but I don't care. I love it so much. It makes me feel things. It's just such a beautiful song. So, you know, I really love that. And then of course, this song, Kiss It Better by Rihanna. This is a very old song. I mean, a lot of these songs are pretty old, but basically this is from her Anti album, which came out back in 2016. So yeah, Miss Rihanna has not made any new music since then, which is very unfortunate. But basically, Kiss It Better is such a good song. I'm a different person when Kiss It Better comes on in my car. It's such a fun song, and I highly recommend listening to it. And of course, if you have loved that song for a long time, but like it's been a long time, wait, that did not make sense. I meant to say, if you have not listened to it in a very long time, I highly recommend listening to it again. It's so good. And now the very last song, Black Beauty by Lana Del Rey. Basically in August, I got the Ultraviolence vinyl, so of course I've been listening to that vinyl. But the thing is, I got the basic vinyl, so it doesn't have like the deluxe tracks. And of course, it made me think, yeah, I need to listen to Black Beauty again, because unfortunately it was like a bonus track. This song is so good. It's so beautiful. This is definitely one of my favorite songs from Lana Del Rey. I have a lot of favorite songs from her. This is definitely like up there when it comes to like my favorite songs from Lana Del Rey. So that's basically it for my August wrap up. I've been here for like 30 minutes and my voice is going away slowly but surely. I do want to ask, if you have watched any Marvel movies, please let me know what is your favorite movie. I would love to know, because as of right now, Marvel has taken over my life and it's been fun, you know. I've been watching the movies quite a lot. I have a list of my favorite Marvel movies, so I would love to know what is like a favorite movie from that universe, the MCU. So please let me know down in the comment section below. And then of course, if there's any like new songs that you think I would like, then of course please let me know as well. I love getting song recommendations. I do want to remind everyone that I do have a journaling Instagram account called Stationery with Trinh. The link will be down in the description box below, and then also my booktube channel Transformers is also down in the description box below as well. So that's basically it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe for more videos, and I will see you guys later. Goodbye!